there guys, Conceptual Concept 6.9 here in the beautiful Pacific Northwest, and today I thought I'd go over my zeroing process. Now, a lot of guys who watch this channel already know how to zero their rifles, I understand that, but quite a few guys I know personally really struggle with zeroing their rifles properly, and I thought it might be a good opportunity for me to share this knowledge and just show you how I do it, and give you recommendations how to do it yourself as well. So, without further ado, let's get to it. Alright, so the rifle we're going to be zeroing today is my CZ Bren 2. Now, I don't know if you've seen in previous videos, I have had this ACOG equipped on here before. However, I transferred it over to my Daniel Defense M4A1, and so it's zeroed for a different rifle, so I figured this would be a good opportunity, since I'm transferring it back onto this Bren 2, to just show you how to zero. We'll also have zeroing with the ACOG and the red dot, so we get to zero two optics today. Now, one thing I personally recommend, which, I mean, other people have different opinions, you're welcome to have yours. For me, I like to have my gun zeroed for the ammunition I actually have stockpiled. So in my case, I have M855, which I know isn't the most accurate, but it's what I have a few thousand rounds of stocked up. And that's what I'm going to be zeroing this rifle for. That's what I care about, the actual accuracy, groupings, ballistics, drop, all that stuff. That's what's important to me. My personal belief is that if you are zeroing your gun for serious use, it should probably be for the ammunition you have loaded in your magazines, not the one or two boxes that you can afford of match grade ammunition. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So, for zeroing, I recommend doing 3-shot groups. The reason why is it is the lowest number of rounds that you can triangulate the position of your impacts. So, I'd recommend watching 9-hole reviews video on why 3-shot groups are not indicative of actual accuracy and why they actually do 9-shot groups. I'll go ahead and annotate that somewhere in here, put a card. So for zeroing purposes, it gives you enough rounds to triangulate your position, your impacts, but it doesn't dump a ton of ammo because we can't afford to zero all our optics. Every shift in impact, go ahead and put 9 rounds down range, where 3 will probably get it done just fine.
So now for the boring part, which is the basic math. MOA is an angle of measurement. So basically it creates a cone of deviation as you go out at range. So basic gist is MOA equals 1.047 inches at 100 yards. We're going to go ahead and round down to 1 inch at 100 yards just to make it simple, because most optics don't adjust down to a 20th of an inch, which would be 0.05 inches at 100 yards. So since we're rounding to an inch at 100 yards, pretty easy math. At 200 yards, it would be 2 inches. At 50 yards, it would be 0.5 inches, etc. So this is very applicable even at 25 yards, which would be 0.25 inches, and at 10 yards would be 0.1. So you can do this math pretty easy and make your adjustments accordingly.
So forgive me, it's a little bit of a brisk, windy day, so I had to weigh down this target, but this is the type of target I like to use. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be the Redfield. However, I really do enjoy the Redfield quite a bit. But you'll see that I have 1-inch squares here. It makes it really easy to adjust your impacts and tell where they are, so you can get accurate click adjustments. So this is my shooting position, and I don't know if you can see, I have the target angle just slightly to the left, and that's because this is a 47-yard range. I used my rangefinder, and that target now, because I have it at an angle, is at 50 yards exactly. So that's what I'm going to be using to start off my zero. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and zero this Holosun EPS at 50 yards. Now, the Holosun EPS has a 1 MOA adjustment, which is 1 inch at 100 yards. Well, 1.047, but close enough. So, at 50 yards, we're going to half that. So it's a ½ inch adjustment at 50 yards. Now, one thing I do want to note about Holosun and other cheaper optics. Now, Holosun is great. This is my favorite top-mounted red dot by far. I own 5 EPSs. But the click adjustments are not always spot on. So I want to mention that just because if we start the zeroing process and the clicks aren't exactly perfect, that's why. I've zeroed 50 plus Holosun optics, and I'd say 80% of them aren't spot on. It's like 1.2 MOA adjustments, 1.3. So you'll adjust way further if you have a lot of clicks to do. So without further ado, let's fire our first 3 rounds, just see how it does, and then we'll adjust accordingly. Turn down this light because you want your red dot as dim as possible where you can still see it, so you can kind of fine tune. It's not blooming over your target. All right, let's go see where those landed. First one clear. Let's go see where those landed. All right, so it looks like those are landing high and right, about 3 inches high and about 5.5 inches to the right. So we're gonna go ahead and adjust 3 inches down, which is 6 clicks, and 5.5 clicks to the left, which should be 11 clicks. We'll see if that's spot on just with Holosun. All right, so we've determined that we're 3 inches high and 5.5 inches to the right. So we need to go 6 clicks down, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 11 clicks to the right, to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now let's see if that is spot on. Again, Holosun, sometimes their quick adjustments are not exactly true. They can be 1/10 or even 1/5 of an inch off, or 1/5 of an adjustment off. So let's go ahead and test it out, see how we do. All right, so this is exactly what I was talking about. This is the original group. And then we went ahead, because we're at 50 yards and it's 1 MOA adjustments. We did 6 clicks down, and which would equate to here, roughly. And then we did 11 clicks left. So where are our impacts? They are way down here. So what we need to do now with these Holosun red dots is we need to figure out, it looks like it's the exact opposite. So I'm gonna half my clicks back. I'm gonna do 3 clicks up, and I'm going to do 6 clicks to the right. See if that impact shifts properly. So as you can see, the grouping from the Holosun and the adjustments look to be about double the advertised adjustment, which they say 1 MOA. But this feels like it's closer to 2. So let's go ahead and readjust back. We are gonna do 3 clicks up because we did 6 clicks down. 2, 3. And we're gonna do, how many clicks to the right? 6 is what we agreed on. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is kind of a classic. You get what you pay for. Holosun has to take some shortcuts somehow to make an optic this good, this affordable. And the click adjustments seem to be either a quality control issue or just kind of the nature of the way the optic is built. Now these do hold zero incredibly well, but zeroing them can be kind of a pain in the keister. So let's go ahead and shoot 3 more rounds. Always with your red dots, make sure it's centered in the optic as well, because parallax is a thing. All right, fairly comfortable with that. Let's go check it out. All right, so there's our original group. We adjusted for 1 MOA clicks. Second group ended up here. So we went ahead and readjusted. We kind of halved our way back. It kind of put us in the middle. So let's go ahead and try to put 2 more clicks up. See if that gets us there. Although it's odd that it's this inconsistent. But again, nature of the Holosun. just kind of how they work. So zeroing is not as easy with them compared to other optics. All right, so we went ahead and adjusted, and let's see if our impact is where we want it. We did 2 clicks up and 1 click to the right, just because it was favoring left a little bit. If it's too far to the right after that 1 click, we're gonna adjust it back, because it was within a 1/2 inch, which for what we're looking for out of this red dot is pretty acceptable, especially when you have 1 MOA adjustment. So you know what helps is if you have a round in the chamber. All right, let's see how we did here. Go ahead and clear. Oh, that was a malfunction. Interesting. All right. All right, after a few tweaks and figuring out exactly how the adjustments were working, we fixed it. Looks like we're good. This is our final grouping here. So we started here, realized the adjustments were about twice, roughly twice the advertised adjustment. We adjusted back here using like roughly half intervals of what we did to get here. And then we just had to fine tune it to get it in the center. So I'd call that zeroed, 50 yards. Now that did take, 12 rounds, which is a little much. Again, you get what you pay for with optics. I'm not knocking Holosun, because honestly, they're great optics, but their adjustments, their click adjustments, and this is with experiences in the double digits of zeroing them, like 50 plus, are not accurate. So you really need to play with your optic, and it's not universally like one optic has the same click adjustment. It is literally the same brand, same model of optic can be off quite a bit. So as you can see, this was about double the MOA adjustments that is advertised on the box. So take that for what you will. All right, so we're gonna start with the ACOG at 50 yards. What I like to do, because I want a 100-yard zero,
Because the ACOG has a 100-yard ballistic reticle,
is I actually split the difference in height over bore. So I aim at the target at the 50-yard mark, and this is roughly 4 inches height over bore. And so I'm gonna try and make all my impacts windage spot on, but about 2 inches low from the target. So let's go ahead and fire 3 rounds, see where our impacts are, and then we'll go ahead and shift. All right, that's 3 rounds. Let's walk up and check it out. So, first 3 rounds out of the ACOG. As you can see, the target is kind of winding around, so I'm not really concerned about that group at 50 yards. I think a lot of that is just the cardboard moving around. But as you can see, if we were zeroing for 50 yards, elevation would be about perfect. We might want to come down about 1/2 inch, but windage is 6 inches to the right. So we're going to need to move the impacts 6 inches to the left. Because we're wanting to go about 2 inches low, we're going to go ahead and move the impact down 2 inches low as well. So we'll go ahead and do those click adjustments in a second. Just remember, 6 inches left and 2 inches low. All right, so now it's time to go ahead and start adjusting. Remember, we were 6 inches to the right, and we want to bring the impacts 2 inches down. Now this ACOG has half MOA adjustments. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and double the number of clicks per inch, because we're at half the range. So half times half is a quarter. So quarter MOA adjustments. So 4 clicks per inch. So we're gonna go ahead and adjust to impact left, and we're gonna do 4 times 6, which is 24. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9. And because we want to bring the impact down, the elevation was actually perfect if we were zeroing this for 50 yards. Since we want to bring it down 2 inches, we're going to go ahead and click it down 8. And something about ACOGs is the way their zeroing mechanism works is you actually should be tapping it to kind of set the adjustment. I'm not exactly sure why it is the way it is, but that is actually 100% true. If you try and make your adjustments without doing that, a lot of the time it won't go all the way there. So you just want to make sure to tap. And let's go ahead and fire another 3 rounds, see if the impacts are where we want them.
That one a little left, but...
All right, so let's show clear and go up. All right, so as you can see, that was our original, and with those adjustments, it dropped us right about to where we want to be. So we're going to call that good at 50 yards with the ACOG, and then we're going to move on to the 100 to fine tune the zero. Well, we're at the 400 yard range here, and we've got a target set out at 100 yards. We're going to see how that 2-inch lower impact at 50 translates at 100. So let's go ahead and check that out. All right, so let's see how we do. I'm hopeful that it'll at least be close. All right, make sure it's unloaded, and let's turn the range on safe. Now, if you have some place in the woods to do this, it might be a little easier. All right, so want to show, these are my 3 impacts here. I didn't even have to adjust the turrets. This is solid. This is a 100 yard zero. Again, you're triangulating the position kind of in the middle. So 50 yard zero, adjust half the height of your optic to your bore, and it'll get you close, if not pretty dang close to perfect at 100 yards. So as you see, I did all my shooting at 50 yards. You could kind of compensate this at 25 if you have a 25 yard range. Do 3/4 height down. So I have a 4-inch difference. I'd want to hit impact 3 inches low at 25 yards. But as you can see, definitely worked with that ACOG. So I'm happy with that. So I hope some of you guys found this informative. I know a lot of guys have their own zeroing practices, and I'd love to hear what yours is in the comments down below. However, this is what I've learned works best for me. And I learned it over a period of time of zeroing optics for the gun shop that I used to work for. We typically had a box of ammunition to zero the gun, and I found I could do it in under 10 most of the time. As you saw with Holosun, it took 12, and that's because the adjustments with Holosuns are always a little off. But it's really important, just do your math, because that'll save you tons of rounds. Make sure you shoot 3 rounds. I found a lot of guys shoot 1 or 2 rounds and make adjustments based off of that. And you saw at 100 yards, that was a 2 MOA spread with this CZ Bren with M855. If you were adjusting, trying to fine tune off of 1 round, you could be a couple inches off every single time. So it's important to do 3 rounds, triangulate the position of where your rounds are impacting, and then adjust based on the center of that.
So if you like this video, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe, and never forget to go outside, touch grass, and eat ass, right guys?